Let's go ahead and get started. Coach, obviously a very successful week, and we're turning our attentions to honoring some seniors and closing out the home schedule on the right foot. So just some opening thoughts about putting BG to bed and turning the attention to some more midweek action.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, happy Veterans Day to everyone. Be remiss if I didn't say thanks to everyone for their service. And it's pretty cool that we get to do what we do because of the sacrifices of people who have defended our freedoms for us. So happy Veterans Day to everyone. It was great to get back to campus, great road victory against a really good BG team, put together a full 4 quarters, and was really pleased by the way that the kids came back and responded yesterday as we cleaned up the tape, knowing that there's real confidence to take from that and that 4 quarters of work that we put in. You can tell that there's some bounce in the guys' steps, which we talked about, after the ball game on Wednesday. But there was also a humility to know that there's areas that we can improve, and they really leaned into that work, which was great to see. And as you alluded to, Dan, we got another opportunity here coming up on Wednesday night, last one at home that we get for the year. We know how each one of these is really, really special, and with a special group of seniors that we need to send out the right way against a really well-coached team that plays really physical, really balanced attack, and you can tell values special teams. So we need a great week of preparation, and we need to be at our best. We need as much support as possible Wednesday night at Dick Stadium.
Well, thank you, Coach. Let's turn things over to Jack Birdie from TV2. Jack, any questions we got for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, first off, just any updates on any injuries? Think there's a chance you can get anybody back for Wednesday?
I think there's a chance we can get everyone back. I think there's a chance we can get no one back. And after this day of rest and we get some updated photos and some updated pictures, which we do on these days each and every single week, we'll know a little bit more as we work through, the practices and carry the load this weekend. But again, guys were in good spirits. I don't think any of the injuries were as significant as the original injuries with some of the guys that got re-injured. And we just got to see how they continue to heal. Our training staff does a great job. The kids do a great job, getting the treatments that they need. And hopefully they're drinking their milk, drinking plenty of water, and eating and recovering the right way.
You kind of alluded to it, but I think against Bowling Green, I think it was the team's most complete game this season in all 3 phases. Just what are some things that you think you could take away from that performance and carry into these last 2 games?
Jack, I think the biggest thing in all 3 phases was that everything that our kids did, you could really tell that they were intentional and that there was a purpose behind it. At times in the season, I thought there was moments where we were just kind of out there, right? And like just we were playing, but we weren't playing with a purpose. We weren't playing to win. And on this rep, I'm going to impact the game to the best of my ability. And I thought our kids played their best and most intentional game in all 3 phases. And I truly believe that they felt that and they saw what they were capable of doing. And there's some real tangible evidence that they can hold on to now that, man, we played soul collector defense for the first time for 4 quarters. I mean, that first half, the field position, I've never been a part of a ball game where the whole game was played on one half of the field, right? I mean, like every time we got the ball, we were in plus territory because of the way that teams was playing, because of the way the defense was generating turnovers. I mean, that was really, really impressive. And our kids should take confidence from that. And then the way that they came out in the second half and continued to build and the way that we finished the game, there's a lot of positives to take from it. Obviously, it wasn't clean, but the effort and the attitude and the purpose that we played with is what we need to take from it and realize that if we bring that effort, that attitude, and that purpose to every single day of our preparation, what a force multiplier that's going to be and how quickly we can improve as we come down the home stretch here as we run through the finish line.
Looking ahead to Eastern, just a quick assessment on them, what they do well and what's kind of allowed them to have another successful year, another bowl eligible season for them.
Yeah, I mean, it starts with their leadership, Coach Creighton and the program that he's built. They have a true identity of who they're going to be. They're very balanced attack offensively. Samson Evans, their tailback, it reminds me a lot of the Carson Steele kid from Ball State. He's obviously a physical bruising runner, but he's got really good feet and he's got more than enough speed to pull away from you. So he's a dynamic back. They have a great slot receiver that has put up a lot of production over the years and is a really hard cover. So, he's going to draw attention. Quarterbacks dealing and operating, making good decisions. Their special teams impact the game. I mean, their kickoff return team is dynamic. They've returned 2 kickoffs, 4 touchdowns. So we got to do a great job containing them. And then defensively, they've had a philosophical shift a little bit. In years past when we've played them, in 18, 19, 20, they have been more of a quarters-based team. They've really shifted their identity where they're going to be more man-to-man coverage and cover three. And I think that's allowed their kids to free up and play more confident. They're doing a good job in coverage. They're being disruptive at the line of scrimmage. They're one defensive end, number 4. I mean, he's top 10, if I'm not mistaken, in the country in sacks. I mean, he causes a bunch of havoc, and we got to do a great job containing him and controlling him. So again, a group of really good players that play really, really hard, playing confident, knocked off a Power 5 team earlier this year, and well led by a really seasoned staff that has a lot of experience and puts them in really advantageous situations to have success.
And last one for me, obviously it'll be senior night. Just how important it is for you guys as a program and for the rest of the players to send out the seniors a right way with the win in their final game at Dick Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything, right? I mean, this is the last group of seniors that we've inherited, right? That were here from the very beginning. And so we got to make sure that we send them off the right way. And obviously, again, we last time we were at home, we didn't play well, and good teams defend their home turf. So we need to get back to being that's who we are. And we all know, again, the arena that we've stepped into, it's only what you've done the last time you were in that arena. And last time we were in Dick Stadium, we didn't play to the best of our ability, and we need to right that wrong.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Let's keep things rolling with the voice of the Golden Flashes and Rob Polinsky. Rob, any questions for Coach?
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Coach, I was wondering, offensive line really played well this past game, and obviously doing well most of the year. How important has it been that group has been together? I think Lamptey got to start at right tackle in the first game. Other than that, they've all been together and started every game. Has that group exceeded your expectations, and why have they been playing so well?
Yeah, I mean, it's been the same 5 for every single week. That same crew and that cohesion that they've been able to build has been everything. So whenever you get a group that can play together consistently like that, with all the various fronts and stunts and pressures that we see, because of how well teams are coached and led in this league, and shoot, with the non-conference that we saw early, those guys gelling together, getting on the same page, and seeing everything through the same set of eyes is everything. And so having them not only each and every single week on game day, but they have done an unbelievable job through some of the bumps and the bruises and the things that they've been going through individually, of saying, hey, we're a young group collectively together, and we need to maximize and value the practice time that we have. And so aside from a handful of reps here or there where we have, been the old bulls and shut guys down to protect them in practice, those guys love practicing, they love preparing, they love being together. And because of that cohesion of working together, there's a real confidence that we have in that unit, and more importantly, that they have in each other, and that, Coop and BB and Gav and Colin and the quarterbacks having them to be able to sit in there and operate and know that they're going to be protected. And all the production that we're able to have that we talk about, at the end of each game or each one of these calls, is only possible because of the cohesion and the way that those boys are playing up front. And I'm really, really proud of them.
How concerned are you about the lack of production in the gold zone? You obviously got past it against BG, but had so many opportunities and just not converting down there. Can you put your finger on anything? And I'm sure you're looking to address that, but what needs to be done to have more success down there?
Yeah, I mean, we need to make our makeable kicks, and Glass is, the best kicker in the MAC, and I truly believe that. And I know that he's going to step up in a big time way to hit a big time kick. So, he knows that, and I have the utmost confidence in him that he's going to step up. And because of all the work that he's put in, he's trained at a really, really high level, and he's going to hit some big kicks down the stretch, right? So that helps, obviously, with those opportunities when he starts banging things through, like I know he's going to. And then, the 1 4th down, we have 4th and 7 or 4th and 8. That's a bad call on my part, which leads to no points, right? So I got to coach better there. And those were the 2 opportunities last week that we didn't capitalize on. Everything else, I thought our kids have done an unbelievable job in the past. What we identified was just a lack of attention to detail and lack of understanding of how we need to attack certain things. Because our kids, when they're locked in and they're focused with what they were in those other opportunities, you get to see the pitches and catches like how we had with Walker in the back corner of the end zone. I mean, that's a high level ball play because our guys are clued into it. There's an unbelievable, you go back and look at that play, which doesn't show up they ran a twist game where the boundary defensive end loops all the way back to the play side A gap. And Brian Bradford does an unbelievable job checking his blitz responsibilities and then comes back and sees that loose color and meets force with force. And because of that block, we're able to make that conversion and that completion in the back corner of the end zone. So I know everyone sees Tez making the catch and knocking out the cameraman and that really cool shot. But what's unseen on that is the unselfish act of Bradford to, step up and to make that block and to make that completion happen. So again, it's just, hey, at the end of those drives, when we get down there, yeah, everyone's tired, but that's where we got to thrive, right? No one's, if we're feeling tired in the way that we play, I know that they're dying on the other side, and we got to take confidence in that and then just go execute the plan and the plays the way our kids are capable of. And I know that we're going to do that a great job. And, we'll continue to have success in that area.
You must have known my next question because you led right into it. Can you expand a little bit about what Bradford brings and what he's been doing? It seems like the more he gets in there, just the more productive he is, whether it's blocking, running, in special teams. Do you expect to see more out of him and just talk about what he means, how he can complement Marquez?
Yeah, I mean, he's a heck of a football player, right? I mean, and that's, I think, the highest compliment that I could give him. Just he's a ball guy, right? So whether it's being the quarterback of our punt team and handling everything with that and all that we throw on his shoulders, he does an unbelievable job there, right? And then he comes in and maximizes the snaps that he gets on offense. I mean, I think he had 14 or 15 snaps the other night offensively. And he's got a huge third down conversion. That was an individual effort because of the run through. I mean, he does a great job there where, it's just a tremendous individual play where he's able to shuck that guy loose in the backfield, stiff arm another guy and get a 6 or 7 yard gain on a play that really probably should have been a TFL. And then he comes in and he provides value as a blocker in our Q run game. So because of that and what we've put on tape, you present one thing and he's a heady football player and able to slip through the defenders and he's got good hands so he can catch a touchdown, right? And then we alluded to, the versatility or the value that he brings when it comes to his pass pro. So, there's just a ton of things that he does really, really well. And we know that we can put him in a lot of different spots and, really grateful that we got a ball player like him on the roster. And again, talks to his character individually about what an exceptional young man he is, that he thrives in the role and he maximizes the reps that he has. And, I'm sure he would love more and, we should probably give him more because that's probably earned and warranted. But, he never says boo about it. He just goes about his work the right way.
Finally, Coach, just wanted to ask you a little bit about Eastern. What is your biggest concern when you look at them? This team really, really good. They're already bowl eligible. Speaks for itself what Coach Creighton has done. He has the most tenure in the league along with Coach Martin. Unbelievably, the consistency I think that he's brought since he's been there to make them relevant. What's your biggest concern when you look at them?
Yeah, I mean, they are a team, to use your word and to, the phrase that I always use, that they're consistently good, not occasionally great. Like, this is going to be one of those games where they're going to be assignment sound. They're really, really technique and fundamentally sound. They're a physical club. So you're going to have to strap it up a little bit tighter, right? And bite down on the mouth guard a little bit tighter. And again, they're very balanced in their attack, very balanced in their approach, so there's not anything that's too one-sided. So a team that doesn't beat themselves and has had the sustained stability and consistency that they've had, you got to go earn it. It's not going to be given to you. So, it's a type of competition that, you got to get excited for. And we know that we're going to get their best effort and they know that they're going to get ours. It's going to be two really well-coached teams with a bunch of talented kids going and competing on a Wednesday night. There's not a whole lot more you could ask for.
Coach, thanks and good luck.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, let's go to Tom Evans as part of the Kent State Football Radio Crew.
I'm very least. That's okay. I can accept that. I can accept that role. Coach, we had some unsportsmanlike conduct penalties on both teams. As a matter of fact, first time I'd seen a referee calling on a guy in the hoodie on the other sideline. Was that a product of the game, or did both teams enter with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder?
I mean, rivalry game. There's some history amongst the teams. Obviously, that last year's game was very, very close. It was 27-20. Both teams are fighting for bowl eligibility, so emotions were high. The biggest thing I talked with our team about is that we're going to pride ourselves on sportsmanship, and the ones that we got were warranted because we were showing up the opposing team, right? I mean, we need to celebrate together. Great teams cheer for each other, and we need to give that energy and emotion to each other when we make great plays. And, we'll learn from that Our guys got to be smarter. No one is worth a 15-yard penalty of any kind, myself and staff members included. So we got to be better than that. And give that juice to each other and not worry so much about the opponent and doing anything with them.
Shifting over to Eastern, I think I counted up. They've got about 17 turnovers on the year, maybe 11 interceptions. Do they get a little careless with the ball, or is that something that's being forced by some other teams?
I mean, good plays. I think a little bit of both, right? A little bit of carelessness, but also good plays by the opponents and everything. So that I'm sure it's a point of emphasis for them to value that ball a little bit more. And obviously, when we can generate turnovers, great things happen. Especially when we can generate a turnover and lead it to a touchdown, lead it to points the way that we did the other night. That obviously helps.
Coach, they got 4 guys that either have 300 or over 300 or close to 300 yards receiving. So it looks like they try to spread it around to the receivers. Personally, I think that kind of plays into your wheelhouse. But do you think that presents any major problems for you guys in the secondary?
No, not a ton. I feel great about, the kids that we have, and obviously the system that Coach Johnson has brought here to us, and the way that our kids have continued to get better and better with it. And again, the Soul Collectors really felt what it looked like and what it felt like to play elite defense by having their eyes in the right spots. There was a lot of trickeration and things that we saw from BG, last week. But because of our eye discipline, because of our technique discipline, because of the communication, which all can be cleaner and all can be better, but it was as good as it's been. We didn't have explosive plays, right? They threw the ball 40 times, and a great number that you can always look to is what is the yards per attempt. And anytime that you can hold a team around 6 yards per attempt, like that's elite defense. And BG was at 5.9 yards per attempt, right? So that's a great job by our defense, playing top down, not giving up explosive plays, making them go the long way. And so no matter how many guys you have to distribute the football to, if we can limit the chunk plays, limit those explosive plays, and do a great job gang tackling and getting it to the ground, we're going to be okay. But we got to do a great job doing that consistently each and every single play against the talent that Eastern Michigan has.
Evans is certainly has some gaudy numbers, but it doesn't look like the quarterback does a lot of running. It doesn't look like Powell's your RPO guy, maybe a little bit more like McDonald. Do you prepared a little bit? Does Coach Johnson prepare the Soul Collectors a little bit differently for that attack?
Yeah, I mean, you got to, play to the strengths of the opponents that you're playing, that you're seeing, right? And again, just because he doesn't have rushing numbers right now, he's more than capable. So again, got to be assignment sound, and we got to build a great plan, which I know that we will this week to negate the offensive firepower that Eastern Michigan possesses.
And defensively, they got Klein to transfer in at middle linebacker, and he just looks like an old throwback Big Ten middle linebacker back there. Like he wants you to run the ball in every down. Is that kind of mixed into the equation for you guys?
Yeah, he's more than capable. I mean, he's an imposing force. He's got size, got strength, got length. He's a really good player, ton of production. So yeah, he's a guy that we're definitely going to have to be aware of. Luckily, he stands out, and so we'll be able to find him because he's a good player that makes his impact known.
That last thing, Coach, you got to stop posting the donuts on the morning after a win, because I almost drove off the road on the way to work because when that picture popped up, I thought, man, those look awful good. So
you got to keep your phone away while you're driving, Tom, man. Come on, you're too valuable to the organization to be looking at your phone while you're driving now.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Tom.
Any follow-up questions here for Coach?
Just one quick one, if that's all right. Coach, obviously, I know the obvious answer is probably the West Division has really good football teams, but is there anything different or something to be said, trying to get your first win against a Western Division team? Is it harder to prepare for because you just don't see them that often? And how much different does that make it?
No, not a difference at all in our prep, right? Each game is important because it's the next opportunity that you have. This game's critically important because it's going to lead to ultimately us still keeping our goals and ambitions alive for this season. So, doesn't matter if it's East, West, South, North, whatever it is. They got great coaches, they got great players, and we need to prepare accordingly and don't get too much into the weeds in terms of anything else, much more beyond that.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
All right, guys, we'll let Coach get back into the lab and prepare for Eastern Michigan, and we'll talk about a big Senior Day victory come out some midweek action on Wednesday.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Go Flashes.